October 782. Dawn breaks over the Aller River in what is now northern Germany. Gerold wakes to the sound of boots on mud. Hundreds of boots. Thousands. The entire camp is moving. He's 28 years old. Born in a small village near Aachen. Joined Charlemagne's army when he was 22. 6 years of service. 6 years of campaigns across Saxony, Lombardy, and Bavaria. He's killed 3 men in his life, all in battle, all armed, all trying to kill him first. The first was a Saxon warrior at the Battle of Eresburg. The man had an axe, came at Gerold screaming. Gerold's spear went through his chest before the axe could fall. He remembers the man's face, the surprise in his eyes, the way he looked down at the spear like he couldn't believe it was there. The second was a Lombard soldier during the Italian campaign. Sword fight in the mud. Lasted maybe 2 minutes. Felt like hours. Gerold's blade found the man's throat. Quick. Clean. The man died without saying a word. The third was another Saxon. Last year. An ambush in the forest. The Saxon had a knife. Got close enough to cut Gerold's arm before Gerold's sword took him down. Gerold still has the scar. 4 inches long, right forearm, 3 men, 3 kills, all in combat, all in the moment of battle when it's kill or be killed. Today will be different. Gerold crawls out of his tent. October morning, cold, damp. The sky is gray, but the sun is coming. He can see the light on the horizon. The camp is massive. 3,000 Frankish soldiers. Maybe more. Tents everywhere. Cook fires, horses, wagons. The organized chaos of a military camp preparing for action. But there's something wrong. Something in the air. A tension Gerold can feel but can't name. His brother Hermann finds him by the river, 23 years old, younger by 5 years. They enlisted together 2 years ago. Wanted to serve the king. Wanted to see the world. Wanted glory and land and a future better than farming their father's rocky fields. Hermann's face is pale. "Did you hear?" he asks. "Hear what?" "The order, from King Charlemagne himself. Arrived last night by messenger." Gerold feels something cold start in his stomach. "What order?" Hermann looks past Gerold. At the field beyond the camp, at the river, at the 4,500 Saxon prisoners kneeling in rows that stretch as far as you can see. They've been there for 3 days, captured after the disaster at Suntel, the disaster where Saxon warriors ambushed and destroyed a Frankish army, where 3 of Charlemagne's most trusted commanders died, where hundreds of Frankish nobles were cut down in the forests. The king's revenge has been coming. Everyone knew that. Expected executions. Maybe a few dozen, maybe 100. The leaders, the instigators, not this. "We execute them," Hermann says quietly. "All of them, every single one, today, before sunset." Gerold stares at his brother. "All of them?" "Every single one." The cold spreads from Gerold's stomach to his chest, to his throat, to his hands. That's impossible. 4,500 men? "Those are the orders." Gerold looks at the prisoners, 4,500 Saxon warriors, kneeling in the mud. They've been kneeling for 3 days, given water but little food, bound at the wrists, guarded by 200 Frankish soldiers with spears and bows. Some are crying. Gerold can hear them from here, soft sounds carrying across the morning air. Others are praying to their pagan gods, Odin the All-Father, Thor the Thunderer, Freya the goddess of war and beauty, gods the Franks have been trying to erase for 30 years. Others sit in silence, staring at nothing, already dead inside, just waiting for their bodies to catch up. "How?" Gerold asks. "How do you execute 4,500 men in 1 day?" Hermann's voice is hollow. 50 executioners, 90 prisoners each, 14 hours until sunset." 90 men. Gerold does the math automatically. 90 men. divided by 14 hours. That's 6.4 executions per hour. Call it 6. One execution every 10 minutes. For 14 hours straight, his hands start to shake. He's a soldier. He understands duty, understands orders, understands that in an army, you do what you're told or you die. But this isn't battle. This isn't combat. This isn't even execution in the normal sense. This is slaughter. Industrial slaughter, like butchering cattle. Except these are men. An officer appears. Count Theodoric, 40 years old, a veteran of 20 campaigns across Europe, fought under Charlemagne's father, Pepin the Short, a hard man with a hard face and eyes like chips of ice. "Form up," he shouts. "Executioners to the front, now!" 50 soldiers step forward. Gerold is one of them. He doesn't choose to step forward. His legs just move, following orders, always following orders. Hermann steps forward too, 3 positions away. They lock eyes for a moment. Neither speaks. What is there to say? Theodoric walks down the line, inspects each man, checks their weapons. "Sharpen your blades," he orders. "Keep them sharp. A dull sword is slower, messier. We don't have time for mistakes." He stops in front of the line, looks at them. 50 Frankish soldiers about to become 50 executioners. "This is the king's justice," Theodoric says. His voice carries across the field. "These men are enemies of Christ, enemies of the Frankish people. They killed our brothers at Suntel. They burned our churches. They murdered our priests. They have rejected baptism and returned to their devil worship again and again." Gerold knows this speech, has heard versions of it 100 times. The righteousness of the cause, the evil of the enemy, the will of God. It sounds hollow this morning. "You will execute them quickly and efficiently," Theodoric continues. "This is not cruelty. This is justice. This is necessary. This is what keeps the empire safe. This is what protects Christian civilization from pagan barbarism." He pauses, looks each man in the eye. "If any man refuses this duty, he will join the prisoners. Is that understood?" "Yes, sir," 50 voices respond. But Gerold hears what Theodoric isn't saying. He hears the threat beneath the words. He hears, "Obey or die." There is no third option. The first group of prisoners is brought forward. 90 Saxon warriors, forced to kneel in a line. Some are young, barely 20, beardless, boys who probably fought in their first battle at Suntel 3 months ago. Others are old, gray beards, scarred faces, missing fingers and ears from previous battles. Veterans who've fought Frankish armies for decades. One of them looks directly at Gerold. He's maybe 35, blonde hair going gray, blue eyes, a scar across his left cheek from eye to jaw, the kind of scar you get from a sword that almost killed you but didn't. He's not crying, not praying, not begging, just looking. His eyes say, "I see you. I know what you're about to do. And I will remember. Even in death, I will remember." Count Theodoric raises his hand. The field goes silent. 4,500 prisoners, 3,000 Frankish soldiers, all watching. Theodoric's hand drops. "Begin." Gerold draws his sword. It's a good blade, Frankish steel, forged in the workshops at Aachen. He's carried it for 4 years, kept it sharp, oiled, maintained. It's killed 2 men, both in battle. Now it will kill 90 more. He steps behind the first prisoner, a boy, maybe 19 years old, red hair, freckles across his nose, shaking so hard his whole body vibrates. The boy is whispering something in Saxon. Gerold doesn't speak the language well, but he recognizes the cadence. A prayer. Maybe to Thor, maybe to Odin, maybe to whatever god Saxons pray to when they're about to die. Gerold raises the sword, 2-handed grip, like he's been trained. Aim for the base of the skull, quick, clean, merciful as it can be. and hesitates. The boy is 19. Gerold's youngest cousin is 19, works in his father's smithy, makes horseshoes and nails and tools, laughs too loud, drinks too much, chases girls. This boy probably did the same. Before the war, before Charlemagne invaded Saxony, before everything turned to blood and ash. Theodoric is watching. 50 other executioners are watching. If Gerold refuses, if he hesitates too long, he'll kneel beside this boy, and someone else will kill them both. Gerold swings. The blade cuts clean. Sharp steel through flesh and bone. The boy's head falls forward into the mud. His body slumps sideways. Blood pools, dark red, almost black in the morning light. Gerold moves to the next prisoner, an older man, maybe 50, not praying, not shaking, just breathing, deep breaths, in and out, like he's preparing himself, accepting what's coming. Gerold raises the sword, swings. The man's head falls. Move to the next. A middle-aged warrior, scars on his arms, missing 2 fingers on his left hand. He turns his head slightly, looks at Gerold. "Make it quick," he says in broken Frankish. Gerold swings. Move to the next, and the next, and the next. By the 10th execution, Gerold's arms are burning. The sword is heavy, heavier than it's ever felt. Each swing takes more effort, more strength. By the 20th, his tunic is soaked, not with sweat, with blood, spray and spatter. It's in his hair, on his face, in his mouth. He can taste it, copper and salt. By the 30th, he stops, counting. Stops thinking. Stops being anything except arms and blade and motion. Step behind prisoner, raise sword, swing, move to next. Repeat. Don't look at faces. Don't hear the prayers. Don't think about who these men were, who they might have been. Just move. By the time the first hour ends, 90 men are dead. The sun is higher now. The gray dawn has turned to morning light. And Gerold has become something he doesn't recognize. Hour 2 begins. Fresh prisoners are brought forward. 90 more. They've been watching for an hour. Watching their countrymen die. Watching the pile of bodies grow. Watching the executioners work. They know what's coming. Know there's no escape. No mercy. No reprieve. Some are screaming now, fighting the guards who drag them forward. It takes 3 men to control 1 prisoner. They force him down, press his head forward, hold him in place. Gerold's hands won't stop shaking. The sword feels wrong in his grip. Too heavy, too light. He can't tell anymore. The first prisoner in this group is different. He's calm, eerily calm. And when Gerold steps behind him, the man speaks. In Frankish. Perfect Frankish. No accent. "I know you." Gerold freezes. "What?" "I fought at Suntel. You were there. I saw you. You fought well. Almost killed you twice." Gerold stares at the back of the man's head. Dark hair, broad shoulders, warrior's build. "You speak our language." "My mother was Frankish. Captured in a raid 30 years ago when she was 16. Married. My father. Taught me her language before she died. She told me stories about Francia. About churches with bells. About bread made from wheat instead of rye. About kings and courts and cities of stone." The man pauses. "She also told me the Franks would never stop. That they'd keep coming until every Saxon was dead or converted. I didn't believe her." He laughs. Short, bitter. "Should have listened to my mother." The man turns his head slightly. Gerold can see his profile now. Maybe 40 years. Old. Scar on his jaw. Gray in his beard. His name is Wulfric. Gerold remembers him now. Remembers seeing him in the battle at Suntel. Remembers thinking, that man fights like a demon. Fearless. Brutal. Effective. And now Gerold is going to kill him. "I have a question," Wulfric says. Theodoric is watching from 20 paces away. Gerold has maybe 30 seconds before he's ordered to hurry up, before hesitation becomes disobedience, before disobedience becomes treason. What question? Do you think your God will forgive you for this? Gerold doesn't answer. Can't answer. Because mine won't, Wulfric continues. Odin doesn't forgive. He judges. He remembers. And when you die, whenever that is, however that is, he'll be waiting. And so will we. All 4,500 of us. Waiting in his hall. And we'll greet you. Every single man you kill today. Theodoric shouts. What's the delay? Gerold raises his sword. I'm sorry, he whispers. Wulfric laughs. No, you're not. But you will be. You'll carry us forever. Every face, every name, every swing. It'll follow you until the day you die, and even then it won't let you go. The blade falls. Wulfric's head hits the mud, but his words stay in the air. Hang there. Sink into Gerold's mind like hooks. You'll carry us forever. Gerold moves to the next prisoner, and the next, and the next. But Wulfric's voice echoes with every swing. Your God will forgive you, mine won't. By the end of hour 2, 180 men are dead. Gerold's arms don't hurt anymore. He can't feel them. The muscles have gone numb. It's like watching someone else swing the sword. Someone else doing the killing. He's separate now, floating somewhere above his body, watching himself work. Step, raise, swing, move, step, raise, swing, move, don't think, don't feel, don't be human, just move. Hour 3, the sun is higher, getting warm. The smell is changing, blood and mud and the beginning of rot. Flies are gathering, hundreds of them, thousands, covering the bodies, covering the pools of blood, covering the living prisoners still waiting their turn. Some of the prisoners are screaming now, full-throated screams of terror. Guards have to hold them down, multiple men per prisoner, forcing their heads forward, holding them still for the blade. Gerold reaches his 270th execution. This one is young, very young, maybe 14, 15 at most, too young to have fought at Sundtell, too young to have done anything, except be born Saxon. The boy is crying. Snot running down his face, tears mixing with the mud on his cheeks. He's trying to speak but can't form words, just sounds, animal sounds of pure terror. Finally, he manages words. In Saxon first, then in broken, desperate Frankish. Please, please, I'm baptized, I'm Christian, I swear to Christ, to Mary, to all the saints. I'm baptized 3 years ago, at Paderborn. The priest was Father Ludger. I remember everything. Please. He probably is baptized. Charlemagne has forced thousands of Saxons to accept baptism over the past 10 years, mass baptisms, hundreds at a time. Kneel in the river, receive the blessing, swear loyalty to Christ and Charlemagne. Some meant it, most didn't. Most went back to the old gods the moment the Frankish army left. Doesn't matter now. Baptized or not, Christian or pagan, they all die the same. Theodoric is watching, waiting, measuring Gerold's hesitation. Gerold raises his sword. The boy screams, I'm baptized! I'm Christian! I believe! Please, God, please, please, please! The blade falls. The screaming stops. Silence, sudden and absolute. Gerold vomits. Right there, in front of everyone. His stomach heaves and he drops to his knees and empties everything into the mud. Bile, acid, the bread he ate this morning, all of it. Some of the other executioners look over, but they don't stop working, can't stop. If you stop, you think. If you think, you break. Keep moving, keep swinging. Don't think? Theodoric walks over, stands above Gerold, blocks the sun. Get up! Gerold can't move, can't breathe. I said, get up, soldier! He forces himself to stand. His legs barely hold him. Everything is shaking. You have 60 more before this hour ends. Move! Gerold picks up his sword, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. Step, raise, swing, move. Don't think about the boy's face. Don't hear his screams. Don't remember his words. Just move. But he'll remember that face every day for the rest of his life. Hour 4. 360 men dead. 4,140 to go. Some of the other executioners are struggling now. One man, a soldier Gerold knows named Bruno, collapsed. Just dropped his sword and fell to his knees and wouldn't get up. Wouldn't move. Wouldn't respond. Guards dragged him away, replaced him with a fresh soldier. Another executioner, older man named Hagen, is crying while he works. Tears streaming down his face. But his hands keep moving. Sword keeps swinging. He's broken inside but still functioning, still obeying. Hermann is still working 3 rows away. Gerold catches glimpses of him between prisoners. His brother's face is blank, empty, like someone reached inside and scooped out everything that made him Hermann. Gerold wonders if his own face looks the same. Probably does. They're all ghosts now. Walking dead men, killing kneeling dead men. Hour 5. 450 dead. Gerold's sword is dull. He can feel it. The edge isn't biting clean anymore. Sometimes he has to swing twice, sometimes 3 times. There's a whetstone at his feet. He's supposed to stop and sharpen between prisoners. Keep the blade keen, make the deaths quick. But sharpening takes time. 30 seconds, a minute, and there's no time. 90 men per executioner, 14 hours. The math is brutal. Any delay means working faster later, means less rest, means more strain. So Gerold keeps swinging with the dull blade, puts more force into it, uses his whole body, shoulders, back, legs. The prisoners die harder, messier, but they die. One prisoner turns his head at the last second, looks Gerold directly in the eyes. The man is maybe 40, gray threading through his beard, scars all over his arms and chest, a warrior who's survived 100 battles, maybe more. He doesn't beg, doesn't pray, doesn't curse, just looks. And in that look, Gerold sees something worse than hate, worse than fear, pity. The Saxon warrior pities him, pities the executioner. The swing goes wide, catches the man in the shoulder instead of the neck. The blade cuts deep but doesn't kill. The prisoner screams, falls forward. Blood everywhere, arterial spray. Gerold has to strike again. The man is thrashing now, trying to crawl away with bound hands, leaving a trail of blood. Second swing hits the spine. Doesn't sever. The man is still moving, still screaming. Third swing, fourth, fifth. By the time the man finally dies, Gerold is shaking so hard he can barely stand. The other prisoners are watching, 85 men waiting their turn. They saw everything, saw the botched execution, saw the suffering. Some are praying harder, some are weeping. One man is laughing, high and broken and insane. Gerold moves to the next prisoner. Step, raise, swing, move. Don't think about what you just did. Don't think about the man's face. Don't think about the pity in his eyes. Just move. Hour 6, 540 dead. The sun is directly overhead now. It's hot. So hot. The blood is drying on Gerold's skin, cracking, flaking off like rust. He doesn't look like a human anymore. He looks like something out of a nightmare, a demon, a monster painted in blood and ash. All 50 executioners look like monsters now. And maybe that's what they are. Maybe that's what they've become. Theodoric walks the line, checking progress, counting bodies, making sure no one is slowing down, no one is shirking duty. He stops at Hermann's position. Gerold can't hear what he's saying, but he sees Hermann nod, sees him raise his sword, sees him freeze. Hermann is staring at the prisoner in front of him, a young Saxon, maybe 22, blonde hair, no beard yet, slim build. Doesn't look like a warrior, looks like a farmer or a shepherd. He looks like Hermann. Could be his brother, his twin even. Hermann doesn't move. The prisoner looks up, meets Hermann's eyes. "Please," the Saxon says in broken Frankish. Please, I have wife, I have son, baby, 3 months, old. Hermann's sword wavers. Theodoric steps closer. His voice is low, but Gerold can hear it. Everyone can hear it. Raise your sword! Hermann doesn't move. I said raise your sword, soldier! Hermann's hands are shaking. The sword tip drops, points at the ground. I can't. 3 words, barely a whisper, but they carry across the field like thunder. Theodoric's face goes red. What did you say? I can't do this. You can and you will. That's an order. Hermann drops his sword, just lets it fall into the mud. No. The field goes silent. All the executioners stop working. All the guards stop moving. Everyone watches. Theodoric draws his own sword. Pick up your weapon. Hermann shakes his head. Pick it up now. I won't murder children. I won't kill unarmed men. I won't. These are enemies of the king, enemies of Christ, enemies of the Frankish people. That one has a baby son. That one killed Frankish soldiers at Suntel. He's 20 years old. Look at him. He's terrified. Last chance, soldier. Pick up your sword or join the prisoners. Hermann looks at the young Saxon, at the man who looks like him, who could be him in a different life, a different world. Then he looks at Theodoric. I'd rather die than become what you are. Gerold wants to scream, wants to run to his brother, wants to grab him and shake him and tell him to stop, to obey, to survive. But he can't move, can't breathe, can't do anything except watch. Theodoric looks around, making sure every executioner sees, every guard, every prisoner, making sure everyone understands what happens to disobedience. Kneel. Hermann kneels. Right there, in the mud, next to the Saxon prisoners. The young Saxon is crying now, shaking his head. No, 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 please, not because of me, please. Theodoric raises his sword. Let this be a lesson to every man here. Orders are absolute. The king's will is absolute. Disobedience is treason. Treason is death. He looks at Hermann. Any last words? Hermann looks at Gerold. Their eyes meet across 20 paces. I'm sorry, Hermann says. Tell mother. The blade falls. Hermann's head rolls forward into the mud. His body slumps sideways. 23 years old, 5 years younger than Gerold. Dead because he refused to kill an unarmed man. Dead because he chose humanity over obedience. Dead because he was still human. Theodoric cleans his blade on Hermann's tunic. Then he turns to the young Saxon, the one with the baby son, the one Hermann died for. You, Theodoric says to the nearest executioner, finish this one. The executioner steps forward. The young Saxon is sobbing. He died for me, he died for me, oh gods, oh gods. The blade falls. The Saxon dies anyway. Hermann's sacrifice meant nothing, saved no one, changed nothing, except Gerold. Something breaks inside him, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet crack, like ice on a winter pond. He doesn't remember the next 30 executions, doesn't remember swinging, doesn't remember moving, doesn't remember anything. When hour 6 ends, Hermann's body is still lying in the mud. No one has moved it. No one will. Not until sunset. Not until all 4,500 Saxons are dead. Hermann will lie there all day, in the blood and the mud, with the people he refused to kill. If you're still following this story, you understand now. This isn't ancient history. This actually happened. This is what conquest meant in 782. A like helps more people see this. Just click. Back to Verden. 6 more hours. Remain. Hour 7, 630 dead, plus 1 Frankish soldier. Gerold works faster now. Doesn't hesitate, doesn't look at faces, doesn't think. His brother died because he hesitated, because he thought, because he felt. Gerold won't make that mistake. He's not human anymore. He's a tool, a function, an arm that swings a blade that kills. Step, raise, swing, move, step, Raise, swing, move. Nothing else exists. Nothing else matters. Hour 8. 720 dead. The prisoners are getting desperate. They've watched for 8 hours, watched hundreds die, thousands die. They know there's no escape, no mercy, no miracle coming. Some try to run. Bound at the wrists, they stumble through the mud. Guards chase them down, drag them back, force them to the line. One man breaks free, sprints toward the river. 20 meters, 30. Almost makes it. A spear takes him in the back. He falls face first into the Aller River. The current catches him. His body floats downstream. Theodoric orders guards to retrieve it. Every single one dies here. Not one escapes, not even to death elsewhere. They wade into the river, pull the body back, drag it to shore, place its head on the pile with the others. Hour 9. 810 dead. Gerold's hands are bleeding now. The sword grip has rubbed his palms raw. Every swing sends pain shooting up his arms. The leather is soaked with his blood and their blood. Can't tell which is which anymore. He doesn't care. Pain is good. Pain means he's still alive, still something. A prisoner speaks, an old man, maybe 60, long gray beard, ritual scars on his arms, probably a priest of the old gods. "You're killing us today," the old man says calmly, in perfect Frankish. "But you'll carry us forever. Every face, every name, every man. You'll see us when you close your eyes. You'll hear us in your dreams. You'll taste our blood every time you eat, every time you kiss your wife, every time you hold your children. We'll be there, always there. You'll never be free of us." Gerold swings without responding. The old man's head falls, but his words don't. They sink into Gerold's mind, take root, grow. You'll never be free of us. Hour 10. 900 dead. 2 more executioners have collapsed. One is lying on the ground, staring at nothing. Eyes open, breathing, but gone, completely gone. They drag him away. Don't replace him. The remaining executioners have to absorb his quota. Gerold now has to kill 100, 5 men instead of 90. 15 extra lives. 15 extra deaths. He doesn't complain. Complaining is disobedience, and he's already lost his brother today. Hour 11. 990 dead. The sun is descending now. Orange light slanting across the field, long shadows. The pile of bodies is massive, a mountain, a monument to slaughter. The flies are unbearable, clouds of them, so thick you breathe them in, swallow them, feel them crawling on your skin, in your ears, your eyes. The smell. God, the smell. Death and waste and rot. Even the guards positioned upwind are gagging, wrapping cloth around their faces. But the executioners can't. They need to see, need to aim, need to work. So they breathe it in, let it fill their lungs, coat their throats, become part of them. Hour 12. 1,080 dead. Something strange happens to Gerold. He feels nothing now. No horror, no guilt, no fear, no pain. He's empty, completely empty. This must be what death feels like, not the death of the body, the death of the soul. He thinks about Wulfric's question from Hour 2. Do you think your God will forgive you? No. No God forgives this. Not the Christian God. Not Odin. Not any God. This isn't war, isn't justice, isn't even revenge anymore. This is annihilation. And Gerold is its instrument. Hour 13. 1,170 dead. The sun is setting, red and orange and purple. Beautiful. The most beautiful sunset Gerold has ever seen. And beneath that, beauty. Thousands of corpses. The contrast is obscene, profane. Like the sky itself is mocking them. Theodoric walks the line again, counting, calculating, getting nervous. 1 more hour. Finish them. Faster. The remaining prisoners know. They can see the sun. Feel the time running out. 1 more hour, and they're all dead. Some pray louder. Saxon prayers, Christian prayers, Mixed prayers to every god who might listen. Some sing battle songs, death songs, songs in a language that won't exist much longer. A culture being erased one sword stroke at a time. One man is laughing, just laughing, high and mad and broken, laughing at the absurdity, the horror, the sheer insane brutality of it all. He's still laughing when Gerold's blade falls. Hour 14, the final hour. The sun touches the horizon. 3,415 Saxons are dead. 1,085 remain. Theodoric is frantic now. Charlemagne's order was explicit. All dead by sunset. If they fail, if even one survives, Theodoric answers for it, maybe with his life. "Faster!" he screams. "Move faster!" The executioners abandon all technique. No precision, no care, just hacking, chopping, killing as fast as humanly possible. Some prisoners die in 2 swings, 3, 4. The screaming is constant now, overlapping, a chorus of death. Gerold reaches his final prisoner, number 105. It's a young man, maybe 25, dark hair, green eyes, a scar on his forehead shaped like a crescent moon. He's not praying, not crying, not screaming, just watching the sunset. The sky is on fire, red and gold and purple, beautiful. The young man speaks in Saxon. Gerold doesn't understand the words, but he understands the tone. Peace, acceptance, readiness. This man is ready to die, has made his peace with whatever gods wait for him. Gerold raises his sword one last time. 90. No, 105. 105 lives. 105 deaths. In 14 hours. The young man closes his eyes, smiles slightly. The blade falls. 4,500. Complete. The sun sets. Darkness comes. The field is silent. No more prayers, no more crying, no more singing, no more screaming, just silence. And 4,500 bodies and 50 executioners who are no longer human. Theodoric walks through the field, counts, confirms, checks every body. All dead, he announces. The king's order is complete. Some executioners collapse where they stand, some vomit, some just stare at nothing. Gerold walks to where his brother died. Hermann's body is still there, face down in the mud, next to the young Saxon he died for, the one with the baby son. Both dead now, both equally dead. Hermann's sacrifice meant nothing, saved no one. Gerold kneels, turns his brother over gently, closes his eyes. Hermann's face is peaceful, more peaceful than Gerold's will ever be again. "I'm sorry," Gerold whispers. "I'm so sorry." But sorry doesn't bring him back. Sorry doesn't undo today. Sorry is just a word that means nothing. Gerold stands, looks at the field, at the mountain of corpses, at the river running dark with blood, and something inside him breaks for the final time. Not loud, not dramatic, not violent. Just a quiet snap. Like the last thread holding his soul together finally giving way. He drops his sword in the mud and walks away. Doesn't look back, doesn't speak to anyone, just walks into the darkness beyond the fires. No one stops him. We're reaching the end. But before we finish, I need to ask you something. Comment below. What would you have done? Obeyed like Gerold? Refused like Hermann? There's no right answer, just your truth. And if you want more stories that show history's real face, subscribe. Every week, now, the aftermath. The massacre at Verden ended at sunset, October 7, 82. By dawn the next day, the bodies were gone, not buried with honor, not marked, just thrown into mass graves. Pits dug hastily in the night. No markers, no prayers, no names recorded. Just holes in the ground filled with dead men. Within a week, grass grew over the graves. Within a month, you couldn't tell anything had happened there, except the river. The Aller River ran strange for weeks afterward. Dark, thick. Fish died by the thousands. Locals wouldn't drink from it for a year. Some said the river was cursed, that the blood of 4,500 men had poisoned it. Maybe they were right. And Gerold? He appears in the historical record only once more, a single line in a monastery chronicle from 823, 41 years later. Gerold, veteran of the Saxon campaigns, died in his sleep at his home near Aachen. He was 69 years old. He never spoke of the wars. Never spoke. Not once in 41 years. He lived to 69, a long life for the 8th century. He married a woman named Hilda, had 4 children, 7 grandchildren. But according to family traditions passed down through 8 generations, Gerold never told a single story about his time as a soldier. Never mentioned battles. Never mentioned Charlemagne. Never mentioned Saxony. Never mentioned Hermann. His wife asked once, early in their marriage, "What happened to your brother? You said you had a brother." Gerold looked at her, and she saw something in his eyes that made her never ask again. He worked as a carpenter after the army, built houses, made furniture. Good work, honest work, work where you create instead of destroy. But his hands shook, always shook, until the day he died. Some wounds don't heal. Some memories don't fade. Some sins don't wash away. Not in 40 years. Not in a lifetime. Not ever. There's a small chapel in northern Germany, near where Verden used to be, built in the 12th century, 400 years after the massacre. In the chapel floor is a stone, carved with a simple inscription in Latin. Hic aescent memento. Here lie 4,500. Remember, no names, no details, just a number and a command. Remember, because history doesn't disappear just because we stop talking about it. It doesn't become less real because it's uncomfortable. The Saxon Wars continued for 22 more years after Verden. More battles, more massacres, more forced conversions, more burnings, more deportations. Widukind surrendered in 785, accepted baptism, disappeared from history. The Saxons became Christians, became Franks, within 2 generations forgot their old gods. Charlemagne won. He became emperor, built his empire, unified Europe, founded the Holy Roman Empire, got crowned by the Pope on Christmas Day 800, just 18 years after Verden. History remembers him as Charlemagne the Great, the father of Europe, a hero. And maybe he was, in some ways. He spread literacy, supported scholarship, built schools and monasteries, preserved classical knowledge through the Dark Ages. But empires aren't built with books and prayers, they're built with blood, rivers of it. And the men who shed that blood aren't emperors. They're men like Gerold, ordinary men given impossible orders, men who obey because disobedience means death, men who survive but never really live again. 4,500 Saxons died in one day. 1 Frankish soldier died for refusing, and 1 Frankish executioner spent 41 years carrying the weight of 4,500 ghosts. Was it worth it? History doesn't answer that question. History just records what happened. And what happened is this. On October 782, at Verden, Charlemagne ordered the execution of 4,500 Saxon prisoners. Frankish soldiers obeyed. Saxons died. The empire expanded. And in a house near Aachen, 41 years later, an old man with shaking hands died in his sleep, having never spoken a single word about the worst day of his life. This was the story of the last night at Verden, the story of Gerold, the man who killed 105 men in 14 hours, the man who lost his brother, the man who never spoke again. Thank you for watching this difficult story. Comment: was Gerold a victim too? Or just a murderer following orders? Could he have refused? Should he have? I genuinely want your perspective. Next week, the 3 years Widukind vanished to Denmark. Because the official story doesn't make sense. And the truth is stranger. Subscribe so you don't miss it. History remembers empires. History remembers kings. But somebody should remember the executioner who never spoke again. Some silences echo louder than screams.